Hello guys, and in this video I want to address 5 ways that I will approach programming if I could go back to the university. In other words, these are the 5 different things I wish I could know all of them at once while starting programming. Though I knew some of them and others later, but these are just the things I wish I knew if I could go back to campus. All right, so let's get into this and see what these are. Number 1, I will learn a language and specialize in a framework. All right, so if I could go back to the university, the first thing I will do is probably I'll learn a specific language, whether it is Java, C++, whether it is PHP, and then after I've just had some gradual understanding of the language, I'll literally first dive into a framework, because what I've come to understand is that when you get into the corporate world, people are rarely coding using raw language or just vanilla languages. And majorly when you get into the corporate world, people are looking for developers who are specializing on particular frameworks. All right, the earlier you know this framework, then it places you in a better position even before getting into the corporate world. So if I get back to campus, I'll make sure that I understand a particular framework, from a particular language. E.g., if it is Java, I'll specialize in something like Spring Boot. If it is PHP, I'll specialize in something like maybe Laravel. If it is C++, I'll specialize in something like Qt. I'll just run through a language and then specialize in a particular framework. All right, and I believe by the time you're finishing maybe your 4th year, your 5th year, and you have specialized in a particular framework, it will be so advantageous on your side. You can easily build products, you can easily market yourself. So that is the first thing I'll be able to do when I go back to campus. The second thing is that I'll approach my learning through a project-based learning. All right, so I won't just learn code and just watching YouTube video, but the best way I'll be able to learn is through project-based learning. This means that I'll be taking a project, even though this project might not be real-world project, but I just take a project and be working on this project literally while I'm learning. Why? Because when you learn through project, the project forces you to understand the most and the key important parts of a particular language. All right, you become better in a better way. All right, you just don't know code for the sake of knowing it, but rather you understand the code that is needed to build a project. All right, so that is basically how I'll approach my learning. I'll literally pick up a project, either online or whatever, and then just work on it and just try to build, whether it is a website, whether it is an app. And in the course of learning and in the course of building this project, I'll be able to understand the key and the most important part of this language. The other thing that I'll do is actually look for a mentor in the corporate world. I cannot overstate this. This is one of the most important things in software industry. All right, if you can find someone who can be able to give you landmarks, who can be able to tell you avoid this, do this, use this, it will be very, very, very beneficial. All right, this has helped me so much, and learning just from people, though they are not like my real mentors, but just learning from people and being told avoid this, use this is the new technology, has just opened my mind. I guarantee you guys, this is one of the best approaches to be better in programming. So just make sure you can find someone, and then I'll just follow along while learning what they are teaching me. The other thing that I'll be able to do, number 4, is that I learn software design patterns. All right, so software design pattern, I don't think this is something that is very, very key to many people, but to me personally, I'll say it did help me a lot. All right, so I never applied it exactly on many occasions, but understanding how to solve different problems with very specific software design patterns has really helped me in terms of how I think, in terms of how I see design problems, of how I design my code. It just literally transforms your thinking. Yeah, and I believe as a developer, it is usually 80% logic and 20% code. That is what you come to understand once you spend time in the industry. When you start coding, when you start software development, you're always agitated and you're always puffed up to just coding, all right? And so after time, you realize that coding is not just about writing code, or programming is not just about writing code, but it's more of understanding the problem, breaking the problem into a very logical solution, and then optimizing that solution. I don't know if you're getting this. So programming is more of solving problem in an optimized manner, all right? It's not just about writing code. And so I can say software design pattern will literally help you to understand, to understand the problem that you're facing, on how to employ the best approaches in solving this problem, and just to transform your thinking across the many problems that you'll be facing as a software developer, all right? The other thing is that I will literally apply, or the other approach that I will just dive in and apply if I'll be starting programming, will be to ask for an internship, all right? Ask for an internship and either even work for free in whatever the company I'll be able to get. I believe this is again one of the most important thing. Why? Because when you are in the real world scenario, you'll be working on real world project. You'll be learning from people who are interacting with real world problems, who are interacting with clients, and you'll just be able to understand a lot of technology that are out there that basically you wouldn't have be able to understand while you just at school and just learning in your classroom. So, and again, one thing about internship and just learning from the industry is that when I was doing my internship after graduating, is that I was so lucky at the place where I was, that the guy who was in charge of me literally would put a lot of load on me, and with just good intention, and he will tell me to investigate this technology, to try and use this language, and you're someone who was very experienced, and I learned a lot, and I learned how to break down a problem, how to the best coding practices, how to work as a team. It just opens your eye when you're working on maybe on a real company. So that is one thing I'll literally do when I go back to campus. And so guys, if I were to go back to campus, I'll make sure that I've studied a particular language and specialized in a particular framework. I'll make sure that I've applied maybe an internship after some period of experience. I'll make sure that I have a special mentor. I'll make sure that also I based my learning on a project-based learning. And lastly, I'll make sure that I have studied software design patterns.